Avengers Infinity War is directed by the Russo brothers and stars every single character from all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. And the plot is pretty straightforward. Thanos begins his ruthless mission to collect all 6 Infinity Stones, and every MCU superhero we've known team up in order to prevent him from completing his task. Before I start this review, I want to let you guys know this is a non-spoiler review. This is one of the biggest movies to ever hit theaters, and I'm sure a few of you have not seen this movie yet, so I want to reiterate that this is not a spoiler review. This is non-spoilers only. Since this is a non-spoiler review though, it's pretty hard to dive into any specific plot details without spoiling anything, so I will do whatever I possibly can to make sure I spoil absolutely nothing and really just skim the surface of Infinity War with this review. So diving right into this bad boy, Thanos, the villain of this film, played by Josh Brolin, is terrific, one of the greatest villains in the MCU to date. He is menacing, cold-hearted, and a true threat. Every single time he is on screen, I feel like anybody in the room is in danger. This is pretty much the first time in any MCU movie we've had this happen, and that's really what I loved so much about his character, and also the fact that his motivation makes sense. What he is trying to do here completely is understandable, and while he thinks it is better for the world to exist, it's not a good thing to do. But overall, I love Josh Brolin's portrayal as Thanos. I think he did a fantastic job. Hopefully, as Cable, Josh Brolin can do just as good of a job. Unlike pretty much every single MCU movie besides maybe The Winter Soldier, this film is non-stop action from the very beginning. Calling this movie fast-paced is an understatement. This movie never stops. You are never bored. Everything rolls in this film. There is not one point that I can pick out and say, yeah, there was some downtime there. No. The action on top of that is terrific when these Avengers are going against Thanos. It is so great to see. You right away know how powerful this character is. In some instances, oh my god. But the action in this movie was some of the best action in the MCU we have already. I loved it. What was another great aspect of Infinity War was how some of these characters were meeting each other for the first time, and we have plenty of different groups scattered across this movie. It's very cool to see the conversations go down between some of these characters who are meeting each other for the first time, and it also provides plenty of comedy. I laughed a lot in this movie. This is one of the funniest MCU movies. It's probably right next to Guardians 2 in terms of laugh factor. I don't know how many times I laughed, but they just kept hitting me to my gut. The movie is very serious, but I loved how they added in that many laughs to make the tone a little bit different when this movie was going down, and the tonal shifts were also very well done. It didn't always stay funny. When a serious scene came on, it was all serious. There was no problems with the tones here. If you've seen the 18 MCU movies prior to this film, you will enjoy having the addition of a couple Easter eggs in this film. That was something very cool to see on the screen. Some things I never expected to see in this movie. A lot of surprises. So thank you so much to the Russo brothers for adding those into this film. Again though, without spoiling anything, the ending is heart-wrenching. I was on the edge of my seat, had no idea what was going to happen, but I think it was just so shockingly well done to the point where my mouth dropped almost. I had no clue what was going on, but at the same time, I loved every single part of the finale to Avengers Infinity War. One of my favorite finales in all of the MCU and maybe in superhero history. One of the biggest complaints I heard about Avengers Infinity War before I saw it in theaters was the fact that not everyone gets to shine in this film. There are a lot of characters that don't get to do too much, but I actually disagree with that opinion. I feel that every character was able to do something, and there was nobody that was underutilized. Every character that was in this film had something to do at one point, and nobody felt like they weren't being used to their potential. I really do have to give it up to the Russo brothers for making this movie, because imagine how difficult it was to compile all of these superheroes into one film and make them all have something meaningful to do, while also making it entertaining. A very difficult task, but something that they succeeded in doing, at least in my opinion. By the end of the film, it takes time to digest. I saw it last night, so this review is still fresh in my mind, but I don't think I'm all certain about what my real grade should be, but I will still have a grade at the end of this review. But nonetheless, this movie is a lot to take in. Thankfully, it is 2 hours and 40 minutes, and then we'll have the 4th Avengers movie next year. Of course, you have plenty of questions to ask once this giant Avengers movie is finally over, but the pacing really works with this film, because I was shocked when the movie was over. I felt like there was at least another 20 to 30 minutes left, but since it was so fast-paced, I didn't realize we were there for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So this movie really did a lot of things right. There aren't many complaints, though I would say this is probably not my favorite in the MCU as of right now. I think I still prefer the Winter Soldier, Guardians 2, and maybe even Civil War. But this film does have about 2 negatives that aren't huge, but still were enough to make me take a couple of points away from the movie as a whole. So the first one is that I feel like there were so many subplots happening that they weren't able to focus too much on anything, and that took away from the film a little bit, because it is so unfocused, and they had trouble deciding what characters to focus on at a certain point. We have so many different groups happening at once, and all of them are doing different things, that it is a little bit hard to have a concentration at one point. But it was annoying because some of the characters would be on screen and then they'd go away for 40 minutes and you wouldn't see them in between that time. So that kind of took away from what some of these characters were doing. Also, the movie does kind of feel like it undoes a few things that happened in other previous MCU movies. They didn't really talk about what happened in a couple of the bigger films. It's just kind of thrown to the side, and you're like, alright, let's focus on Thanos and what we have to do to stop him from getting these Infinity Stones. So it did kind of take away a little bit from what the other films built on. That's how I felt. I feel like for all of the characters that were already going to have 3 movies made for themselves, like Black Panther and the Guardians, you might have wanted to had made those movies beforehand and not done this movie until the last and final parts. I get it, you want to pump out these movies as fast as possible. Still, I would have liked to have seen them make a trilogy for all the characters that were already going to have a trilogy before making these final 2 Avengers films, and then ended the MCU and started fresh after that. But maybe it'll surprise me with Avengers 4. I'm going to give Avengers Infinity War a 90%. This was a very good movie that had non-stop action. I was never bored, very much entertained. It was great to finally have all the characters come together on the screen, including the Guardians of the Galaxy, who we have not seen together with every other character from the MCU yet. So that was awesome to finally get a taste of that. Definitely a job well done by the Russo brothers, but I still need some time to digest this film. It was a lot to take in. So for those who have seen Avengers Infinity War, let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. If this video can get 5 likes, I will do a spoiler review along with my next 2 rankings videos, which will be my rankings for all of the main superheroes in the MCU as well as the main villains in the MCU. If you are new to my channel, click that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.